last week we spoke a little bit, and you once in a while you'll punch in a fan question, and I know what you were doing here. Um, and so like we read one of your questions, and anyhow, it was just kind of a topic. And I wouldn't even say that you struck a nerve, but you knew the exact question to ask because you know how I feel about this. But anyhow, like I don't think you watched the podcast, but we have a little clip of it. So let's watch this clip, and I want to see what you had to say about it. So roll it. So our statistician Clinton Fowler, and dude, he knows that I can't stand making predictions like this. I'm not a predictions guy, but he's the stat guy. All right. So Fowler's Facts asks, how far will Jett ride in the all-time ranks? He has the tangibles. Okay. Will that happen? Hell, I don't know. I mean, you're Clinton, you're the stats guy, bro. I mean, tell us what the stats look like. See, he sent this as a joke to get the reaction that we're giving him right now. I don't again, I don't have a crystal ball, brother. You're the king of the calculator. So Clinton, you tell us, is he going to do it for sure? 100%.
Actually, Clinton,
who the hell knows?
Clint, we need you to send in if he does this and he keeps up the trajectory that he's on, how many years does he have to race to get to that, with how many race wins? And then we could dissect it even more. So you put that on your plate, Clint. Get that out for next weekend for us.
Yeah. Why don't you give us some more stats that show us why he's going to do it, and is he going to do it?
He's gonna. I knew I could get you guys one.
Oh yeah, you got us. But okay, dude. Like now Okay, so everyone that's listening to Title 24, right? Whether you're watching it or listening to it, like Clint and I and RV once in a while have this conversation separate, but it's like we have seen so many riders that you thought, oh dude, for sure this guy's gonna break every record, Supercross, outdoors, everything. So like that, like Clint knows, like, I've told him, like, dude, I thought this guy was gonna take it to the house, and you just never know. And that's why, like, I'm like, why you asked me that question? Is that why you did that, dude?
I mean, always. It's the great, like, you're pretty humble about the fact that you've won 76 outdoor nationals, right? Like, that's 3 times the amount of RV even lining up in the outdoors, right? Like, we've talked about that, right? Like, yeah, it's the quintessential bench racing conversation. Obviously, Jett's incredible. He's on a pace that's unmatched, even to your numbers, RC, in the beginning of your career. So, yeah, like A, everybody's asking the question, and then B, I love just giving you a little bit of a hard time, RC, and putting you on the spot for it. And like, you've done what he's attempting to do. RV, you've done what he's attempting to do. So like, no better than Title 24 guys to comment and chime in on the progression that guy's had so far, right?
Yeah, I think RV, you hit the nail on the head though last week. I mean, listen, he has everything. He has the qualities that you need to break all the records. We all know that, dude. He's an incredible talent. Love watching him. Love what he brings to the table on the track for sure. But like RV said last week, is just there's so many other moving parts. Like 2 or 3 years down the line, like anything can happen, as we saw. He's had to sit out last year. So you just never, that's the thing. You just never know that, right? Like you just never know. And that's why I hate answering that questions. But like, again, there's so many things that can play into the record books. Like you talk about, the beginning of my motocross career in the premier class, they weren't as good as the latter part of my career. So it's almost like reverse. He's doing better at the beginning. Can he maintain that tempo
and maintain it? So like Clint, what if he maintains it? How many years would he have to race? How many race wins per year would he have to win? To reach some of those numbers, right? You have 72 Supercross wins from MC, which is I think even harder than outdoors. Potentially, then you have 76 to even match RC. So what does that look like over, over race wins per year? How many and how many years would he have to race?
Yeah, I mean, look at what we're in right now with Pro Motocross. RC, you've got 76 wins in the Premier class. He's at 19 after this weekend, right? 19 and 20 starts, memory serving here.
Yeah.
He's got to win every single race for 5 years to catch 76 wins. Like it's absurd to consider, but then when you look at the rate that he's winning, guys, like
Yeah.
it's incredible. Like he's on pace, right? But I mean, RV, this is the place, we've talked about this at length. It's like longevity of career. In the outdoors, you only had 26 starts. It kills me. And whenever I look at the numbers, I'm like, man, RV, when you raced, you won.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing I feel like. And I know you've posted the stat because you and I, so RV, you might not know this, but Clinton and I have had this conversation quite a bit. And I'll use MLB for an example. Like they are big. I feel like they're heavy in winning percentages, right? And that's how they really judge. A lot of people, in my opinion, judge how good the athlete is in baseball by their win percentage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like for you, dude, your freaking win percentages are unbelievable, right? I mean, like you smoked me. I think you smoked McGrath in Supercross. And is that right, Clint? Or no?
It's on par. Yeah, the win percentage, I wouldn't say smoked you, but the win percentage, when you look at it raw numbers, we talk about MC, we talk about Chad up there. But when we look at win percentage, it really comes down to in Pro Motocross, it's URC, it's RV, and it's Jett at the top. And then it swaps out and you add in McGrath when you get in Stu when you get into the Supercross. So RV, the raw numbers weren't necessarily there because of the longevity, but the percentages surely are. And it makes it awesome for us in the stats space for bench racing. But when it really comes down and I ask that question, to me, it's one of those interesting ones because, I mean, to win that consistently for that long is so darn hard. We look at Eli, we're talking about he's 32 guys, right? And he's and he's getting moto wins still. And he got a Supercross win at San Diego this year. And so just being able to ride a bike like you guys did for as long as Jett needs to catch, to me is one of those, we're going to be asking this question until he does it or doesn't do it. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, RV, do you ever have wondered, and I've asked Clinton how you could measure this because they do it like, let's say college football, for example, like strength of schedule. So it's like, okay, this guy's better, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, at the end of the day, listen, dude, you want a crap load of races. I want a crap load of races. We made a great living for ourselves. We're super, super fortunate. Like I'm stoked. You're stoked. It is what it is, right? We move on down. It's not everything in our life. But like, I would like to see, is there a way, have you ever thought, like, would it be cool to measure like what the strength of schedule was for you, like guys that you raced against? And how does that equate to some of the new guys? Have you ever thought of that, RV, with that stat and how that would play?
No, I haven't. I have not really.
No.
I look back and I just go back and pull like, how many gate drops I've had, especially for outdoors, because I missed two critical seasons that I think I could have won. I look back and say, it's that woulda, shoulda, coulda. Injuries happen. And I was just fortunate enough and lucky enough to, when I was healthy and when I was on the gate, like there was always somebody, kind of like, I raced Chad hard for a long time. And then it was James for a long time. And there's, everybody has their strengths in different parts of the season, different tracks, and also just the mental strengths of knowing who's going to be on, who's not, who's going to make those mistakes. I know we've talked about it with James, for example, just pressure him a little bit more. And, you don't actually have to make the pass. And 9 times out of 10, that mistake shows itself. So there's all those different things too that come into play.
How do you measure that, Clint? Like from your standpoint, I mean, you're the expert, and we'll defer to you in this situation. Is it harder to do that, and like what I've asked you many a times compared to like what they do in college ball?
I mean, it's actually, you have definitely asked this a couple of times, and we are working on it actively, RC.
Really?
This is,
I'm like
finally
curious, like
Yeah.
strength of schedule.
Yeah, there's a thing called ELO ratings. This is a little bit on the nerdy side of things, but back in the day, or actually even still now, chess players, when they play against each other, they have a rating, and they have it so you can do it against everybody you play, depending on who you played over history. And so it's a ELO rating. It's a nerdy algorithm calculation. And we're working on that. That'll give us, you can look at the full history of the sport, and it'll give us a relative rating of everybody versus everybody, because it's some way you can see over time, like you raced against the same person, and you can carry that over time and see how your ELO rating goes. So there'll be something in the next, let's just say by the end of the year, we'll have something for us to look at and go at that. We've looked at some initial stuff, and we've got to tweak it to reality. But I mean, frankly, I think you can look at just that. If you want to just get down to the absolute simplest, you just look at win percentage, right? Brock Glover would love this right now, gentlemen. He loves, A, he loves stats. B, he loves talking about win percentage, just because the sport has shifted so much since the time he was out there kicking ass. But you just look at the win percentage. Take Supercross, right? RV, you've got the best win percentage in Supercross of anybody in the history of the sport at 45%.
That's what I was saying, dude. Like, I mean,
pretty good.
That to me is like gnarly.
Yeah.
Like,
and
so
Jett,
like,
Jett,
okay,
43%.
What is Jett?
Yeah, so here's your top five. RV 45%, Jett is 43%, RC 42%, McGrath 42%, and Stu 41%. So like, if we were talking about who's the best ever in Supercross, I think we can look at that and go, you know what, regardless of the number of times you guys lined up, regardless of the injuries and the decades and the era and the bike you were riding, like those win percentages are a very simple, beautiful way of saying, hey, RV's got the top there, right? Maybe didn't have as many starts, but still RV, you've got the top there. And I think that's a great list to debate, right?
Yeah, that's cool. Right. Did you know that, RV, or no?
I didn't know it was 45. I thought it was somewhere around 43 or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't know it was, I'm top of the leaderboard currently. So that's kind of cool.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. So anyhow, just like I go to like looking at that stuff, and like that's gnarly, like you won more than any of us, considering the amount of times that you lined up. And then you think about the races that you missed because of injury, and same for me. Like 2004, what would my percentages look like and my championships look like if I didn't have to sit out for an ACL? Well, it's my fault. I blew my knee out, like it is what it is, like, but for you, if you didn't get hurt, I mean, but everyone could play that card, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the Achilles heel of the sport is are you healthy? Can you make every round? Can you make every round at 100%? Can you put yourself in a position to win? There's so many moving parts inside of our sport, Supercross, motocross, racing itself, from the athlete side to also the manufacturing side, from the motorcycle side, blowing bikes up and things like that. We saw Southwick. We mentioned Southwick coming up. What was it, 2 years ago? Hunter, his 250F, the Honda, it took a crap on him out there. I think it was Moto 2 at Southwick. Boom, right there. Nothing to do with him. Just a bike issue, and it caused him to have to retire himself out of that moto, which is a big problem when you're looking at big picture.
Yeah, dude, big time. One thing, Clint, I don't know if you know this stat, or I don't even know if it's a stat, but I was thinking about it. So like one thing, okay, like wins and championships and all that, but the thing, like, you talk about being lucky. All right, we all need a little bit of luck. Yes, you make your own luck, that. But what I am more amazed about of my outdoor career, I wouldn't say amazed, but I can't believe it didn't happen more often, is, dude, I only had one. I had 2 DNFs and 1 DNS, and the one of the DNFs was I didn't finish the moto at Glen Helen when I crashed when me and Stu were racing. You were there, RV.
Yep.
And then you were in the 250 class, and I banged up my shoulder, so I didn't race the second moto. And then my bike blew up at Southwick. I think that was the first moto, right? Your man Dowdy won. I think that was the first moto. I had a flat tire one time at Broome Tioga, and it was a front flat, and it started to go flat with about a lap and a half to go, and I ended up winning the race still. I don't know. I had a big enough lead I could kind of chill, but I got so lucky. But that to me is like, of all the races that I raced in outdoors, how in the hell does that happen? Like, you talk about stats, like you can't like that just blew my mind when I thought about that, more than like some of the wins and stuff.
It's
like there's no
RC,
that's nothing, dude.
yeah, those are the variables, right? You're like,
Yeah.
talk about it. Like, you got Jett, who's 3 years into the premier class in his career, and you're like, okay, well, the number of variables that could come into
variables,
play. Yeah, and that's the thing. I was just looking at like starts in Supercross, and I'm thinking he's 21 starts in Supercross. RV, you had 92 starts. RC, you had 115 starts. Like, he's got a quarter of the starts, 20% of the starts that you guys had. He's got to repeat what he's done at 43% for another 80%, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's it's incredible to have that sort of longevity, to stay at the top, to not have the DNFs you're talking about, RC, to not have a front tire flat, which doesn't shock me at Broome Tioga, given the rocks at that place. But yeah, I think that's the place where you guys have lived and breathed this. You guys have kicked ass for your entirety of your careers, from day one to the final day. To do that, we've not seen it, right? We're talking about you two guys. We're talking about MC in Supercross, and he was awesome in motocross as well. And now Jett, like, there's only a few people that can speak with authority that have done it. You guys are it, and he's trying to do that. So it's
I mean, dude, like, that's when you look at it, right, RV? Like, when you look at it from what Clint's saying, is like, okay, RV, you have this many wins, this many starts, RC, MC, all you guys, you know, you have this. And then when you start looking at about how long these riders have to go to get to those peak numbers, then you're like, damn, that's like 5 years from now. Think about what could happen 5 years from now.
Exactly. Yeah. No, 100. Yeah. And what he's been in it for what, 4 years. So 4 years already, 2 in the 450 ish, and then two in the lights. So yeah, another 5 years. You know, and that's the other thing. When does that's the other thing we haven't even mentioned here, is like, when does he decide to, maybe he still has it from a rider's perspective, but maybe he checks out mentally and it's like, you know what, I did this. I've won everything that I set out to do. Goals are met. Money's in the bank. Checks are cashed. You know, that sometimes can play a part in it too, especially the older you get. You know, and he's still young. He's still, crushing it, but that may flip a switch eventually too, which changes his mentality.
Hey, RV, you mentioned, like, to the mentality piece. We've chatted a little bit before. You've mentioned, we were talking, I think, about Eli Tomac and how long he's been going, and he switched brands, right? Like, at a time where maybe that gave him the energy to keep going, and like, he needed a new environment and a new place. And do you think, like, in RC, you switched and you made those, and, you know, obviously some of that is, you know, there's financially is a smart thing to do, but RC, you lived that switch. Do you think that was valuable for you in RV? Like, do you still think about looking back now and go, man, if I could have stayed racing for 2 or 3 more years, if I could have found the energy versus had the pressure of winning championships, like, that piece feels
I do agree. I agree with that. I agree with, I should have I switched teams. I think I retired basically right as I had turned 27, right out of being 26 into 27. So still really young. I think if I could have made it to, say, 28, another year or 2 years, I think my mentality would have changed also. And I had said this to somebody else the other day too. Every championship that I raced for, other than Trey Kennard, it was an East Coast round or East Coast series. Other than that, pretty much every championship I raced for, I ended up winning. So I think if I would have lost a championship, call it when I was in my peak of racing, and that would have lit a fire too. Like I didn't not race a championship.
That's scary to think that you would lose a championship, right? Like when I think of that thought, RV, it scares me because we never really did, right? So you're like,
so like ACL, for example, I got to race Glen Helen round 1. Paula, I think it was Glen Helen round 1, got my knee fixed after that. So yes, did I start the series? I went 1-1 that day, or ended up with the overall, and then ended up getting my knee fixed. But it was, the trajectory was there. So yes, did I lose the championship because I got hurt? Yes, that is a thing that happened to me, and it was my mistake. But a dogfight to the end of the season and losing is different than losing from round 1 because I tore my ACL and I won the overall, right? So mentally, I'm like, I'll sit here and say mentally, I would have won that season outdoors. I was in a great position to win. I know it was round 1, but I think I could have won. But if I would have raced Dunge or raced James or raced any one of these athletes and straight up lost, really, I mean, I guess my first 2 years 450, put it that way. My first 2 years 450. Yes, I raced full seasons, missed a couple races here and there, and didn't win. So I guess I'm not 100% correct because I had 2 learning years in the 450 class that were.
But you never you defended all your championships.
But I defended every one of my championships, and I never really lost a championship based on I wasn't good enough. I couldn't beat that guy.
Yeah, me either. And that's like, honestly, just sitting here, and I've never had this thought until right now, talking with you guys, it kind of scares me. Like I can put myself in that moment. Like, what if I didn't win that Supercross championship in 06? The AMA Supercross championship in Vegas, like down to the wire, basically winner take all, not winner take all, but I had to beat Reedy statistically. He had always got the best of me there. Like maybe I would have kept racing. Like I know beforehand, I'm like, hey, whether win, lose, or draw, I'm done. I'm only racing part-time in 07, but I don't know. That thought frightens me, and I'm glad I didn't have to live it. But yeah, I don't know. But Clint, it's a tough, I think it's a tough answer, or it's tough to give an answer this day and age where RV, I don't want to speak for you, but where we're at in our lives, and looking back, would another couple of years have been great financially? But dude, of course it would. But I mean, would the pain, misery, risk, what if something would have went wrong? Then we're sitting here today telling you like, yeah, that was stupid. We should have quit while we were ahead. Stuff like that, I don't really get wrapped around the axle about, like it's the past, you can't change it, and you move on, and you just, you live your life and be thankful for what you accomplished. But yeah, right. I mean, looking back, yeah, it would have been cool to race a couple more years, put a few extra bucks in the bank, but that's 20 years ago.
Hey, the one that I have to imagine will be motivation for Jett is a guy like Deegan, who's clearly motivated to come up and take the title from Jett. So maybe that will be the motivation for Jett, to have the longevity to go win the titles that you guys did and ascend up through there. Maybe Deegan's the one that gives him the motivation, because we know Deegan's motivated by it. So yeah, we'll all benefit from watching those two go at it for sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, Clint, we appreciate you coming on Title 24 today. It's good to see your smiling face. I will see you at the SMX playoff rounds. Hopefully I can see you before then. Maybe our paths cross. But you've done a great job. Again, at the beginning, started at Fowler's Facts. Now we went fast. And you're our main guy in the broadcast. You do an incredible job. You are king of the calculator. Diff has coined you as that. You do a great job, and we appreciate your time today, my friend.
Yeah, pumped to come on. It's awesome. And yeah, don't forget to come and check out the we're doing some betting stuff, Stu and I, the Inside Line, if you want to go win some money. I can't bet. RV, you should be able to bet. I don't think you
No,
can.
he has a hard card, right? He can't.
Oh,
You
yeah,
can't.
there you go. You can't
bet.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a hard card for Pro Motocross currently, so maybe I can.
There you
But
go.
isn't it? I think it's the whole SMX.
SMX too. I had one for SMX. Yes.
Yeah, you're hosed.
For you.
Can't do that.
Can't win any
Can't
money.
do that. Well, we appreciate you, Clinton. You guys check out We Went Fast. They have a whole bunch of great stuff on that website. They do a fantastic job, him and Brett Smith. So we appreciate you again. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you at Charlotte.
Yeah. See you then, guys.
All right. Thanks, Clint.
Well, it's always great having Clinton on there. RV's he's fun to play with. He's fun.
Yeah,
he brings a lot to the broadcast, dude. He's a massive help, especially to our play-by-play guys like Weege and Diff when they're in there in the seat. They man, he's always writing notes. Him and Brett, they do a good job.
They do. Yeah, he's always a good guy to talk to. He's always interesting to talk to because it's completely different than my mindset of like he's more of the, like you said, the king of the calculator side, the information side of it all, and we're the racer side of it. So it's always a good banter back and forth, having the racer's mind and the king of the calculator's mind.
Dude, you like, is it sitting in like for you? Like you're a bad dude when you think about like what we were talking about him with is the percentages. That's gnarly, bro. That's gnarly.
It's pretty cool to see here. And obviously I've said it on the show multiple times. The older I get, the farther I get down the road, the cooler it is to look back on the career that I had and currently still holding 45% win percentage,
bro.
And I think Jett's at 43, RC you're 42. So it's closing in, but yeah, it's interesting to see if Jett wants to have that, how many records or places he's going to put himself on the top step of the box, how much longer he's going to have to go, and the win percentages he's going to have. It's gonna be great for the fans where we sit in our seat. It's gonna be great to see. And then you got Hayden coming in next year for outdoors. Obviously he's probably gonna have a learning year, but then what happens after that, right? So all those are great things from our seat and from the fan seat.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.